Good evening, good evening, good evening. It's Ruth Marquise. Welcome to Ruth and Real Estate, Market Update. Welcome. It's Tuesday. It's time for our real estate show. Real estate. All right, so let's jump into our topic today. Should I move out of state? Before we get into that topic, okay, let me let you know. Okay, it's a reason. I'm in Philadelphia. I'm a realtor in Philadelphia. If you're watching my YouTube channel, make sure you hit the subscribe button and you like the video. All right, so if you're on Facebook or Instagram, leave a comment. Thank you so much. Appreciate your support in the channel. Now, there is a reason why people move into row homes. If you don't know what a row home is, there are homes that are stuck together like 50 at a time. We call them row homes, right? Townhomes, it's like more so in the development, a couple of them at a time. And they're twin homes. That's a home side by side. We just gonna act like everybody on the same understanding. And single homes. It stands alone, no neighbors. The neighbors are not attached to you. You have neighbors, but they have their own single home. There's a reason why people don't move to the county. I don't know if they told you, but here on Ruth in Real Estate, the reason why all your friends and your family and just a couple of them moving to the suburbs is because it's expensive. Okay. Now you're looking at the prices. You're like, oh, well, don't look too bad, right? I make some money, Ruth. But when you factor in those taxes, oh, yes. I had a buyer. I said, look, we gotta read what your taste is like and them taxes are like. It's not matching. So the payment got to be in Delaware County. We were looking at a $3,200 payment for that particular house. Okay, and if you know anything, we're in the Northeast, so we're on this side, the north side, right? But then the West Philly side, past that is Delaware County. Okay, so over here we got Montgomery County, we got Bucks County, and on the other side we have Delaware County. I take my clients to Delaware County when they love single homes, right? They love single homes. They want to be around the city. So we go to Delaware County if they're like, Ruth, I can't with these little rooms. I can't do it with you. I can't do it with these little I call them the shoebox rooms in the Northeast. Some of the rooms are the third bedroom is so small, it's a shoebox, okay? So if you don't like the Philly homes, then you go to the county if you can afford the county. And if you can't, if you feel like the taxes are too much, the homes are too old to be buying. When I was growing up, I was like, oh, I want to move to Atkins Park and well, we actually did move to those areas. And it was like, when I got older, I was like, these houses are old. They real old. They actually was here before the row houses. I was like, they old, right? And so I didn't know until I worked at a bank. If you're on here, say hi. But if you're shy, it's okay. I was working at a bank, and this lady brought a home down the street from my family home, and she was like, "I paid $500,000, and I gotta fix it up." She was like taking thousands and thousands of dollars out the bank so she could fix that house up, And now it's probably worth way more because I know she did a lot of improvements. But if you cannot afford to live in the city, they have their taxes were lovely for a while. Okay. Now, sorry for all my Northeast clients who bought a home who are in the Northeast, like, Ruth, what's going on? While my taxes keep going up. Okay. You see what they're doing, right? You see, they're building and they're renovating these strip malls are coming up. And I was just at the Giant the other day. I was like, yo, this used to be a David Bridal's. Like, now it's a whole Giant. I'm like, I can't even imagine life not being here because I'm always, getting some food. And it just, the whole neighborhood is turning around. So the taxes are going up, the prices are going up, and it's just, they're starting to build on corners. I was like, It's here. Because I remember they used to build downtown. I was like, well, why not Northeast? That's not right. And now they are. So if you seen them build wait, did y'all see the one building? If y'all in the Northeast, did y'all see the one brand new building in the middle of the row homes? I was so done. I was so done. It was like a brand new home amongst all older row homes. I was like, oh, really? That's what y'all want to do? And it was expensive too. I was like, oh, okay. So, yeah, it's going to be a problem. So, things are shifting and changing in Philadelphia. If you don't like it, if you've been living here for a while, that is one of the reasons why you may consider moving to another state. So before we get into the different states that you can move to, I want to share my story about moving to another state. Me personally, I told my daughter, I was like, don't say me personally because it's always something negative attached to it. But me personally, not the way I say it. Me personally, I did not plan on moving out of state, but I wanted to, but I did not plan on it. I had to get away from a horrible situation, and I found myself in another state. It was good for my peace of mind. They say if you want to, like, you should at least move one time, okay? Because if you think about it, we see, our surroundings, and we're just like, we're just here. But how did you get here? Someone decided before you were born to have you here or move from somewhere else. So you never made a decision for yourself as to where you wanted to live. So now is your chance, your time to say, you know what, while I'm young, okay? You can't wait till all your kids are old and, then, well, you can, but now all your kids are planted here, right? So you want while the family's still young or before you have children, you got to go experience other places. Now it's going to grow you as a person, that's for sure, because you're not going to be relying on childhood friends and the same community, the same people that they have the same kind of mentality. You're going to be exposed to different kind of people, so that's a really good reason to move. Well, when I went to Virginia, I experienced people saying hi to each other. This is the whole thing in Philly. They don't speak in Philly. Like Philly, it's a hit or miss, okay? But New York, you definitely don't speak, okay? You speak to people, it's a problem, right? But Philly, hit or miss. We might, maybe you get a smile, okay? But speaking to people, oh no. But in Virginia, they was like, hello. Everybody was speaking, and it was a thing, and they would help me with my grocery bags. So I used to be mad. I'm like, I'm getting out of Philly. I'm getting out of Philly. But what I realized was, and I'll give you one on vacation too. What I realized was it wasn't so much the area, and you got to learn for yourself. And once you go away and come back, you can maybe appreciate your hometown more. But I realized it wasn't that I hated Philly, even though I said that. I was younger. It wasn't that I hated Philly. It was the people I was trying to get away from, right? I couldn't, they made it. Have you ever, real estate agents have this thing like, if we drive down a block, I sold that house, I sold that. That's me. I sold that house right there. I remember that, right? With the same way it's like you sold that house, right? It's like, you had this memory here, and like, oh, this bad memory here, this good memory here, this bad memory here. So when you have a bunch of bad memories around the city, you like, get me out of here, right? So I remember coming back, visiting Philly, and I could not stand just a particular block we came down. It was a light, and 2 feet later, another light, and 5 feet later, another light, and 10 feet later, another. I'm like, oh my gosh, if you could just let me drive down the street. Just let me drive down the street, please. I was so annoyed because in Virginia, you would be driving for like 10 minutes before you get a light, but then everything was kind of far. Hey, Mimi, how are you? She said, hey, lady, how are you? We're talking about should I move? Today is Ruth in Real Estate Market Update. So, to experience another state, to experience. I learned a lot about myself. I sat next to water, right? I was sitting next to, there were lakes everywhere, and there were fountains, and there were and it's so funny because what I had to do was I had to identify. Like when I came back, I was like, oh, we got a river right here, right? I was living near the Delaware River. So I was like, oh, I can sit out here. And what's the funny thing happens when you say, oh, I like to sit by the water? Like you never get a chance to go, right? There was like three beaches where I was in Hampton, Virginia. So I would go to this. I would never go to the busy beach. I would go to the beach where nobody was and just chill at the beach. We loved the beach, right? It was a 10-minute drive, um, and it was just very peaceful. It was calm. It was slower. You know, when you have like children, like life can be. You get so much going on that it's good for life to be slow. But for life to be like boom, 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 and you got kids, you be like, wow. So people that are like so used to chaos, it's chaos, y'all. Come on. Living in New York is chaos. Living in Philly is chaos. Getting up, running, going to work, doing all this other stuff, and going here, there. Never sitting yourself down, never having peace of mind, never having clarity to say, what am I doing? Why am I thinking? It's chaos. So living in Virginia to me was so beautiful. It was just peaceful. It wasn't just craziness everywhere. Then they had like these town things that they used to do, right? They had all of these events, family events. And this is why like you had to, and I was like, oh my gosh, it's like so much better here. It's family events. But the truth is you just knew about the events, right? They had like the kids were out in the fire truck, all that stuff. And in Philly, when I came back, I started paying attention, like, oh, I mean, we had some stuff too, right? But they had the county fair, they had a bunch of stuff, like, well, North Carolina, went to North Carolina, had that. So what ended up happening, long story short, is I had to come back because I could not work. I couldn't find a job because not because they didn't have jobs, but I didn't have childcare to get a job, or everything didn't work out in that way for me. So you have to have certain things lined up. You have to know where you're going to stay. I was staying with family, and then you have to get a job, and then you have to have childcare lined up. Well, I was in the process of doing all of that. And then I was just like, you know what? Time to go back. So I did go back. I got to become fully myself as a woman. I came back when I left. I was never putting makeup on. I was wearing makeup. I was looking nice. I was more spiritual. I had the whole awakening of my, just myself, and my relationship with God was so strengthened, and I could come back and decide for myself what I want to do. So anyway, I went back to that situation, and at first it was good, and then it went right back to what it was. So I left that, but I was stronger knowing that I can take care of myself. I was out on my own. So it grows you up to move out of state. It grows you up to be on your own. It grows you up to try to figure out life on your own, or without the same resources or the same people or the same whatever. So I knew I could make it. So I was fine, and I needed the strength. Sometimes us women, we get in situations where you got to have if you don't have the strength, then it's never going to change, right? So I had to do that. So that was a blessing. Now, when I was going to visit LA a lot, I mean, I really was considered living there. I'm not playing. Like, I was like, if you can make it there, you can make it anywhere. I was treating LA like it was New York. Like, yeah, I want to come here. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. Okay. So if you want to move to Virginia, like, let me tell you. Well, the bad thing about Virginia, I didn't notice because I was so busy trying to get away, is that them houses, they ain't the nicest of the homes. So when on the way there, so some of the homes are like older homes, and then there's little homes in the cut by the whole, what's the ocean? It's the ocean? It's the ocean. Yeah, it's the coast. So yeah, by the whole ocean. Then it was a beautiful suburb. The suburbs is the next level in Virginia. Okay, like your neighbor had like a beach in their backyard. Okay, if you got some money and you want to spend your money right, it was at the time the homes was just right. The size of is right. Everything was great. Then you had access to 9 cities. It was good. I ain't gonna hold you. It's really, if you want a slower life, ain't nothing popping up in Philly. Come on, cut it out. We just working hard over here. But if you want to like family life and all of that, Virginia's a great place to go. Um, but the whole driving 6 hours back and forth, I'm glad I don't have to do that no more. That's good. So when I went to LA though, um, in Virginia, I learned that it's important to, if you're when you're having children, to have that support system. That I didn't have the support system that I needed, so I was like, I have to go back because I don't have a support system. I can't be like, I'm gonna drop these kids off so I can go X, Y, Z and make it happen. I didn't have that, so I was like, all right, that's what I needed personally. When I went to LA, and I was like, look, come on, let's make it happen. I see mountains. People's like, do you live there? I don't know. You're not here no more. I mean, it was mountains in the background. And I was like, oh, there's no way. I'm like, mountains, and what does that mean? But when I saw it, it was breathtaking. I was like, I love this. When you went to LA, you saw nice cars, and the highway, on the driveways, it was nice car after nice car after nice car. Then you saw like they just had nice little towns to each other, and the beach is accessible by 40 minutes from where I was staying. I was in Burbank, and homes was $500,000. Your girl was gonna make it, honey, because I was just gonna sell some homes in LA, and we was gonna make it. But I had to remember that the money was back home. My business was back home. So I'd be in LA, and my buyers be like, "Oh, Ruth, you better come on back so you can sell me this home. You're not gonna sell me my home no more." I was like, I'm coming. This is a trip, really. Oh, it's so funny. But I had to realize that if you don't have a financial base in the state that you're going to, if you can't transfer your job, if you don't have a plan. Now, when I went to Vegas, they were saying, and I'm giving y'all the state by state, because your girl, okay, she got the knowledge of the state. I could be in Puerto Rico if you want to. You could be in the Bahamas if you want to, but the girl got the knowledge on the states, right? And Vegas is like the best of both worlds when it comes to, even though it's in the middle of a desert, when it comes to like if you want to live in LA, Vegas housing is so affordable, okay? And they're Ubering, oh my gosh, them Uber people was making $400 to $500 a day, if I'm not mistaken. They would just go out and just make a bunch of money that day. They was living they was loving it. The Uber drivers was doing well. That's like if you're gonna do when people do side hustles, if you're gonna do a side hustle, Las Vegas. I was like, bruh, so you mean to tell me? I was like, what if I took a flight and I did Uber, came back? Their Uber was popping in Vegas. And there, if you could drive Uber and then the housing was affordable, they was like paying like $900, and it was a nice areas, nice single homes, all of that. So open up your eyes to see where you want to go, okay? But I had to come back because financial opportunities, you gotta make money, Ruth. You got to come back home. So in Philly, I was like, you know what? I'm gonna do my thing in Philly and expand. So if you want to move to Delaware is, you can move to Delaware, but like where it was getting good with the homes was Middletown. Oh yeah. Middletown, Delaware has some amazing homes. Like some of them were up 400,000. A lot of them were still being built, and they have space in the homes, and it's just really nice situation to have. If you're gonna pay, because if you're gonna get a single, you're gonna be paying $300,000 to $400,000 in Philly. Okay. The problem is when the taxes hit, and the taxes were pretty reasonable in Delaware for that kind of house. Okay. If you're going to move to New Jersey, I hear that people that stay there for a very long time, it's kind of like New York suburbs. That's what I think the people in New York moved to New Jersey. A lot of them moved from out of Manhattan to North Jersey, and they just maybe travel back and forth, or they kind of move their life over there to North Jersey. But North Jersey is expensive to rent, to buy, all of that. So South Jersey is more reasonable, but the taxes are expensive. Okay, so we talking about, it could be 7,000, it could be 12,000. I mean, I remember they have some nice homes in New Jersey, and the taxes can get up there. And I had to ask the people, like, what do you do for a living? Like, they had really, really good occupations, but people defer back to Philly because the jobs, there are some jobs in Philly, don't get me wrong, but the kind of jobs that my clients were getting, it wasn't on par to get in those other homes. So when you start moving up, then you move out, and that's that. So that's Georgia. Okay, Maryland. Maryland, I was in Elkton, Maryland. Where was the other place I was in? Bel Air, Bel Air, Maryland. Okay. The DC area. Hey, I went to DC, y'all. So this was like a whole culmination of my travels. I went to DC and I stayed at an Airbnb. I was like, you know what? I'm chilling. I'm loving it here. DC was very nice. A very nice trip for us. Very, very nice. It's like there's some really rich people in DC. So, I mean, it depends on your job or what you're doing, but it could get expensive there. Like, so don't trip. Like, Maryland, DC is very expensive, right? They call it DMV area. All right. So these are different places that you can move to, but why would you move? You will move because you want to get out of the same area that you've been in all of your life, or you and your spouse are living in two different areas and you want to like make the move, you want to make the jump. You're in a long distance relationship, you make the jump. Or you move because there's opportunities out there that you cannot get in your hometown. One thing I want to say to people in Philadelphia that I noticed, thank you, Ruth, for your experience in Uber. Okay, I talked to a lot of people and they were of a different nationality, but they all came here for jobs. I don't know what y'all doing, Philly people, but it's people coming out of town to come to work in Philly. And they're getting top-notch jobs. They're getting six-figure salaries. They're doing really, really well. Those probably the people that's buying the brand new, they're living in Northern Liberties, they're doing this, they're doing that. They know the careers to get to be in order to afford those things. But I found that very interesting. Y'all have to get on the career path that's going to lead you to the right um, situation in real estate, okay? Because some cultures value, I'm driving a nice car, a nice whip, but I can put it outside the hood, right? Other cultures will not even drive a nice car, but their home payment is astonishing, okay? They're paying a lot of money to live where they live. That's their flex. Okay? Their flex is to live in certain neighborhoods. They'll work whatever jobs they have. A lot of the women and the men split the mortgage in half. And like I've heard clients, the customer was like, "Oh yeah, we're getting the divorce, and I have to sell the house because I can't afford it without them, right?" And we both can't afford the house on our own. So they're splitting the mortgage payment just to be able to afford it. So 3,000, what is it? 3,000 shmee thousand, right? Who cares? We're splitting it in half, right? So that is how people are able to afford living in whatever neighborhood that they want to, because they're working together on that front. Okay. Other reasons to leave your neighbor, should you move out of state? I mean, it's because you don't like the crime that's going on. I heard about Wawa closing up, some stores and closing early. Like, do they know what they're doing to us? Do you know what you're doing to me, Wawa? What is the point? That's the one thing when I was in Virginia. I was like, I sure do miss Wawa. Like I do. I sure do. Man, ain't nothing like going to the Wawa at 11 o'clock at night, right? And you just was like, listen, you know something's always open. You know that you can always get gas. You always know someone when you go to the bathroom when you working, right? Um, I was an Uber driver, so I had to for all of y'all that I don't use public restrooms. Um, what else? So yeah, Wawa's gonna close some stores down, and you know that's really sad. It's really sad, but that is a reason why a lot of people like it up here in the Northeast. So that is it for today. If you want to move out of state, contact us 267-259-4639 or find us on social media at Ruth Marquise Group. RUTHMARQUIS Group. GROUP. Okay. Contact us and we will help you find properties that fit your budget, the lifestyle that you want to live. By the way, you can always get a home in Philly, and after a while, you'll be able to take out some money to put down on your next home and you can move up from there. So it's not once you get into a house the first time, let's just say it took you $10,000 to get in the first home because you used this. Because you're smart, right? And if you didn't know about us, it's okay. We forgive you. Just use this the next time. So you get 10,000, you get into the house, you're making your payments, and one day you could take money out the house and get the bigger house that you want. Not because I told you to get a big house, because you want the big house. So like I would tell you just live below your means, you know. If you watch Ruth in the Bay, yeah. We're gonna tell you that, right? But other than that, you can do what you want to do. Okay. So get the home that is going to be comfortable for you. Because I know for me, I need my kids to have a room. Like that's minimalist for me, right? I'll cut everything out just so we can have space in a place, right? So that's something that you have to consider as well. Moving out of state, if you just want a different vibe, a different scenario, a different feel on life, you're tired of getting up and doing the same thing over and over again. I hear New York people complain that they're tired of the grind, that there is like when they finally wake up, like, listen, I'm going to be renting forever if I'm here. You know, they love the city, but they hate the grind, but they do it because it makes them tougher, right? But that's great. But after a while, you ain't going to be tough at 75. You got to start making moves that's going to be good for your kids. That's going to be good for yourself. And that's when the people from New York, like if I'm with somebody and New York is calling, I got to go. I'll call you right back. New York is calling. Because some Haitian person or American person is calling your girl to buy your house, okay? So anyway, with that being said, let me know, guys, what state do you want to move to? What state are you interested in moving to? You know, that you want me to look into for you. We're going to go, as time goes on, we're going to dig into these different states and the different benefits and different things you can do. You can go and visit them and visit the events that they have. You can visit for a weekend, get yourself an Airbnb, see what it's like to be in that neighborhood, to be in that vibe, you know, because some places you know you belong, but you're hesitating, you double dutching, like trying to get in the rope, and you don't know what to do. You don't know how am I going to relocate Ruth, right? But the one thing I'm going to let you know is you got to get that job. You got to get some kind of income going in the state that you want to go to. And once you do that, you're straight. You are straight. Okay. With that being said, that's it for Ruth and real estate. Ruth and real estate. Ruth and real estate market update. I will see you next week. Bye.